just for everybody to clarify, yeah, that was just read yesterday. They were talked about the moms and where the mistakes happened and like adhering to all of the rules.
Been able to mod on their own. And so I apologize for leaving. I apologize for not training you all properly, but I will commit to training the moderators.
It's not that we're incapable of moderating spaces we create. It's that when you're moderating a space in a house that you don't own,
Yep.
you're always focused on what would Mojo do. And
How about this? What about acknowledging that even Mojo makes mistakes and then just dedicate yourself to trying to do the right thing? And if your decision is wrong-headed, we could talk about that. But if you could justify, I believe that this was the right thing to do. I took this course of action. I'm the moderator. I think we can live with that. And then we could challenge the logic and the reasoning behind it. And we could learn from that. I would argue understanding of what is right and wrong. It happened differently if I was there. And again, I don't want to rewrite history, but like, here's what I suspect. If I were there, if Shirley would have interrupted Brad, I would have either said, Shirley, let Brad finish, or if I hadn't got to that point and Brad started going in hard on Shirley, I would have said, Brad, if I needed to, I maybe would use tools like Zoom or that sort of thing. But my guess is to me, and then we can just establish the order. Let's let Brad finish, then we'll go to Shirley. And I think what happens is when we sometimes we create this space because we want it. Sometimes we create this space to be like, oh, let's see where this goes. Oh, Brad's getting fired up. Shirley's catching strays. This is different. This is exciting. I'm getting my dopamine. Let me just sit back. And I'm guilty of this. We're all conflict. I just think we need better rules of engagement so when we have conflict, I'm sure that very strongly. Some of people like Jane are not told that they're going to get raped and drown in a body of water. I think there's certain things we should be able to agree upon that are too far.
I mean, no, I agree. Like, and I think that people that just go. I just don't even know why there even needs to be rules, like, because people should just, well, I guess on Clubhouse we need rules. But Brad has said these kind of things to a lot of women on the app. I mean, he's even gone as far as saying he was going to bend Isaiah over and shove a crucifix up his ass. So, like, I mean, a dude that you're saying that to, which is not a woman. To me, I still think that that's a little too far, right? Because he said he was going to essentially rape. I mean, yeah, I can. I love that. I love that.
I'm sure that very much.
Sometimes I love it best silent.
This is candidate Congressman John Kitover. Anyway, 25 Section 1 in case of the removal of the president office or of his death or resignation.
It's something that is agreed upon, like the example he just gave, something a woman, anyone, and define that you're going to end their life. You know what? Sorry.
How awesome for women.
Yeah.
I was about to say, so John Kitover, I just spoke with Lou Fax, and I'm going to give him a call here in a moment, and just want to check your availability because he wants to do an interview on, I don't know if he's going to do it on Twitter or on here, but he wants to interview the candidate, so I'm going to speak to him and get it scheduled, so just let me know your availability.
I will make myself available at any time.
to have that incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
Into having all conversations in the public.
I would think that occupational licensing fees would really, like, reducing and eliminating occupational licensing fees, like, for example, fees for people that want to, like, twist braids or cut hair or cut nails, things like that. I think that would be helpful to his community. I also think civil asset forfeiture, the act of the police taking property from somebody before they're convicted of a crime, I think that's a problem. I think those are the kind of things that if you were to tap into and discuss how not only are these horrible policies, but they disproportionately impact certain segments of the population.
Yeah. I mean, in Illinois, we have the Illinois Department of Financial Professional Regulations, where if you're a realtor or a hairstylist, you have to get these ridiculous, you have to pass tests, you have to pay all this annual license fees just to perform this service. And in terms of, civil asset forfeiture, I mean, if you're driving to a casino and you've got, $10,000-$20,000 in your car and you get pulled over and the police take that money from you and claim that you're involved in some kind of drug scheme, and then you have to get a lawyer and go to court to get your money back. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous what the police can do.
I've been there, done that, and it's actually less than that. I was driving home from Reno once, and I had money in an envelope, and I was getting tired, and I was speeding coming out of the mountain, coming out of Reno, and I was pulled over, and they had all the right in the world to give me a ticket. No problem. But then when they asked what was in the envelope, I told them that I had some success at the casino in Reno. They told me to step out of the car. They took the envelope. I had to hire a lawyer. I was able to get my assets back, but I was not able to recover the money that I had to spend or the time that I had to spend to fight to get my money back.
Yeah, and it can take a long time. It can take a year to jack around. My inverter went out. The only time my car broke down when I was 20 miles from home in the two-lane parking lot. I mean, I had to do something where I could even damn it tone.
Yeah, when I moved to California, Los Angeles from Illinois, Chicago, I drove there and I had some cash in my car and I got pulled over before I got out of the state of Illinois for speeding, and they stripped my car down. I couldn't believe how hard they were looking, and they couldn't find it, and it was, a big victory to leave that asset forfeiture seizure, operation that they were doing. They could not find the cash in the car.
So, Anne, Kristen, are you guys okay?
You're so stupid.
I'll take that as a yes.
I just can't wait for the next time Brad's in here. I'm just gonna be like, alright, Kristen, here's the moment to shine. And then when she does it, then I'll say, good job, Kristen. Welcome to In the Mob. You're now one of us.
See, the best way to deal with Brad is he is a heat-seeking missile. You just don't want his, targeting sensors to detect you. So, deploying that military asset to chillism is an excellent use of that heat-seeking missile. And I put a clip in chat where you can watch Brad absolutely nuke chillism.
Thank you for putting that in there.
I will say, you can trash talk, chillism all you want, but there is only one room on this app, only one, and it's only chillism, that allows absolute freakish. It does not kick people out. Knowledge is the person, not Nathan. Knowledge is behind the genius. You can say anything you want, no bullying, you get to get it out. Wait, no bullying.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that review. I just that's a good reminder for me to unfollow you. Thank you.
And no bullying is a rule that is adamantly opposed to free speech. And by the way, like, why should you be able to say whatever you want? Like, every one of these spaces is curated by a host who gets to decide, how they want to run their space. And I don't know. I just don't know why you would advocate for that.
Yeah, I'm curious why people want certain content in their space. The most pushback rule that we have in this house is the rule that says that you can't say the N and the K word. Now, for most rational adults, they don't have a problem with that. Those are not words that are regularly incorporated into their vocabulary. But here on Clubhouse, it's the most pushed back upon rule. Imagine that, people fighting for the right to say the N word. It's amazing. Dina, do you oppose my rule about not saying the N word?
No, I like that rule. I mean, I think so. It's difficult because I don't know. I'm not intelligent enough to make that call. I rely on the people to make.
I agree with you.
Yeah. No, but seriously, free speech. Like, it's interesting. I think that it's nice to know who you're talking to, right? And you have English language as 3,000 adjectives, right? And you have the ability to build upon them, like making a potentially infinite number of words that you could use besides that. So I like to know who I'm talking to. So I don't know. I'm undecided. I would prefer not to have that word said in a discussion, but I also would prefer not to be bullied or harassed for a particular position and to have my positions genuinely represented and not manipulated, you know what I mean?
But wouldn't you agree that you are given ample time to talk? I mean, in fact, I hear people ask you questions all the time, and then they mute up and they allow you to respond. Do you feel that you don't get adequate time to share your thoughts? Where you felt that you don't get a chance to represent your case, and I think that that's incorrect.
No, that's not what I said. You see, like, this is one of those times. I never said I don't get enough time.
Well, listen, I agree that there's some people in this room, which could include me, that think that some of your ideas are poorly thought out and definitely poorly argued. And so there's definitely going to be a critique of that. Do you think that that's unfair in these discussions?
No, I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is when I've answered enough questions and you know what my position is, and then there's an intentional manipulation of my position for performance or whatever else. If that's your business model, I mean, whatever. I bring myself, I put it here, I can leave quietly if I want, but I still think that it's disingenuous and it's not it's not good for civil dialogue. Or
let me ask you this. Which house on this app do you think is the best moderated?
Well,
let's narrow the options. Let's say Healthy Debates, In the Muff, Chillism, and Lisa 420. Who do you got?
It depends on the goal. Dialogue, I have to answer. So, we gotta set the goal. Because I'll tell you what, I know it ain't Healthy Debates because I found Chillism because Healthy Debates kept kicking my ass out when I was having civil dialogue. So, Healthy Debates was my reason for going to Chillism. And so, that just shut down dialogue completely. But this, In the Muff, I don't know. I like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. still know that I don't have to be free to, I don't have to fear presenting any type of political position in knowledge space ever. As long as knowledge is there, right? Knowledge is there. That's the safest place on this app to express your freedom of thought. But I mean, not everybody likes safe, and I understand that too. They're all different business models. It just depends on what you're looking for.
Biba, you don't view the Green Bean moderator and the design of this app, with houses and rooms as like a way to essentially be free? Because if you think you're being bullied or you're getting kicked out of this room or that, it might not have to do with, the moderation or the room. It could be you, meaning that the way you speak or what you're talking about or how aggressive you are. I mean, it's easy to throw stones and call people bullies, but I'm just saying the ability to create here is the ultimate redemption.
I think that's out for, to be determined, right? But say, there's a guy on this app, I don't remember his name, but he streams rooms. And I know that there's I could get a lot of coming into particular spaces. But not in the last 3 days. And, I got my eyebrows.
There's a guy on this app that streams rooms.
Yeah, on YouTube. And so,
And so the point though was that,
we could probably catch that guy and find some recordings.
who is that guy?
I wouldn't know.
There's several, aren't there? There's you.
He's definitely not right above you, people. Definitely not. Not our final congressman.
Yeah, no, not at all. That guy's running for Congress. That's Congressman Kitover, who reads wonderful works and educates the public.
Yeah, doesn't he talk about that?
Perception.
Simplicity? What was it? Spicy. It's definitely not him.
No, not him.
I want to know who this guy is. I mean, he could potentially be making us famous.
God, I hope not.
So, Moose, what makes you think that Healthy Debates is a better moderated house than In the Muff?
When JB is moderating, he does a good job of giving everyone a chance to speak and welcomes everyone on the stage, regardless of one's political affiliation. And
Do you mean everyone?
I think. Sorry.
He allows everyone?
Everyone, what?
Well, because I've heard complaints that people get removed from that space quite a bit.
Well, I think he said political affiliation.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Not what they say after they're welcomed to get them removed. That's obviously up to Dave. It's just like you have your rules, he has his rules, I suppose. And I see it's a significant improvement with your moderating, Russia, so check back with this poll in another week.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, there's a race to the top, and boy, will you see where I'm at, right, Moose?
I have no idea what he just said or what that meant.
So, you choose what space you want to be in, right? And then, never mind.
Right. You choose to hang out with white chillism where people drop the N-bomb as if they were saying, oh heck.
I would say so too. I mean, just speaking from experience, like from my own experience, the reason why I went into the healthy debates a long time ago was because I'm a very sensitive person. And, churches to go in there. A lot most people you know are like, oh, they're going there, they're just crazy. They're so mean. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes it's kind of fun. Go ahead and beat me up. Because then I learn better how to navigate in this world. And I learn how to better control myself and behave. But that's my
This is like rapid fire Toastmasters. I did public speaking in college, did a course, and that was really insightful. And what was interesting about that experience is I came back from Israel on a birthright trip, and I gave a presentation on the Palestinian Media Watch organization and how they distribute propaganda through fake Disney television programming and all kinds of things. And I got called into the professor's office, and he sat me down, and he was from like Chile or Argentina, and he screamed at me for an hour about how the Jews, through learned behavior, are the new Nazis of the Middle East. And he gave me some kind of punishment of something, and then I walked out of his office. And that was the end of it. But from a public speaking perspective, that was like my first big success in public speaking or gaslighting, to a particular set of audience that has Jewish derangement syndrome or Israeli derangement syndrome, and it's totally all or nothing or one-sided. But that's not the point of what I'm saying. What I'm saying here is that Clown House is your Toastmasters opportunity to come prepared to your public speaking engagement. And the quickest and easiest way to do it is to do AI prompts or Grok prompts and just read some data. You need I don't know if any of you have done public speaking and understand like the framework to a speech, but your attention getter or telling people what you're going to tell them is your introductory statement, and then you move on to your main bodies or your main points. It's the same format as an essay essentially, and then you tell them what you told them and you give them your conclusion statement. But it's important to inform your audience whether you're giving a persuasive speech or an informative speech, and be direct and to the point with regards to which one it is. They're technically the same thing, but anyways, this is just public speaking, and people take this so personally and road rage on here and make homicidal ideation threats. That is strange, but also because you've witnessed it so many times, it's a lot of just like dopamine creation in the weirdest way possible. But listen, I hate to say it, but we live in a very violent world, and we are all going to disappear. So, if you want to spend your time complaining about bullying, or, talking about the past, my favorite rule in this house is don't bring drama from other rooms in here, because that immediately demands that you're in the now. And today doesn't end up being a bleed over from yesterday and the day before. And so when you're in the now, you do not bring up stories of past drama from other rooms.
Shall I present a Toastmasters speech on the topic? Toastmasters? Is it just like a regular, like the Easter?
It's Toastmaster.
Toastmaster. Is it Toastmasters?
If you're not too okay, that's a little bit of an awkward segue, but sure.
I like Roger's spaces in the moderation the best, because I feel like he's got a little something to offend everyone. And if you're not offended occasionally, then you're probably in the wrong space.
I've listened to Chillism for many years now and have recorded the rooms many, many times. And like from a speaking perspective, everybody, gets a low grade, and the moderators, to me, it's unbelievable that Tali and Nathan can absorb all of that, and go about their daily business. Because I assume Tali's working from home, and Nathan, who knows what he does, occasionally. Anyways, it's too much. It's TMI. But what I'm saying is, it's, look at these 4 rooms in the survey, cast your vote, but just know that, these 4 rooms are in the permafrost of Clown House. They are consistent, and they draw a crowd. So it's very easy to shit on people, but the point is, they still are able to create these incredible situations or cast of characters. And if you are a capitalist or business entrepreneur, recording these rooms and bootlegging them could be a good opportunity because they are not recorded, they are one offs, and the cast and the crew will never come together again. So each conversation is rather special from that perspective. I don't think anybody's interested in these conversations in the future because most people want to be in a now conversation, and that's what creates the highest dopamine. So, anyways, I cast my vote for Mojo because I think Mojo has organized the most intelligent and curated conversations on this app, and the funniest conversations because I do think it is a little bit like a roast where the head MC gets to bat around somebody, toss around their ideas, and bring in a new subject. So I salute you, Mojo.
Thank you, thank you. I also welcome people to roast me. That's something you don't get in a lot of these rooms. Try going politically correct and roasting the host.
Happily. Oh wait, no, don't twist my arm.
I think when Bima said that I do a drive-by and just go into rooms and like drop insults, I've definitely gone into chillism and just, press that button many times from many accounts. But I think from their perspective,
I can't hear him. Is it me or is it?
It's you. It's you.
Okay.
It's that cheap phone of yours.
Good morning, sunshine.
Oh, I didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry, guys. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't know, Congressman, I would say that I do agree with you. I would say this probably is the best moderated right now. However, it's not the safest to talk about topics, and that's I think that's important too. So, like I said, depending on your goal,
What topic do you think is unsafe to discuss in this room?
you already know the answer to that. I mean, listen to Yui. Like you had a pretty harsh criticism of Yui today, who got kicked out of the room, and you had your opinions about him. Monica has her opinions about him, I'm sure, but we've had plenty late night conversations. Me, Hagab, Yui, a couple others, and they're really good conversations. And I do think that he's a fabulous chess player, and I also think that he has some great argumentation, and I also think that he can, mess up just like anybody else. So I would like to see Yui stay and talk, but like I said,
I think his fake accent is the first problem, but the big mistake he made in here was defending attacking women. I mean, you can't be in polite society if you think it's okay to sexually assault women. He thought that there was a moral equivalence between other things that were said in this room and talking about directly sexually assaulting women. And then when he was asked for an example, he couldn't give one. I think that shows that he was a bad faith actor.
if anybody is to give me like the abridged version of what happened besides Mojo, I would listen to it. But I mean, Mojo, there is a chance in the future that you maybe become a reliable source. But I've seen you manipulate enough retellings that there's no way that I'm just gonna.
How about this? I'll pick the person with the most politically opposite views of me on the stage. Moose, you were here for this. Moose, do you think that?
No, let him tell me what happened.
Okay, good. Moose, go ahead and tell her what you observed when Huey was here.
Huey came in. I guess there were comments in the chat, and then yeah, what happened?
Moose.
Well, it's alright. There's still a place. There's still opportunity. The what is it called? The adjacent possible. There may be some amazing adjacent possible after pretty much the past 3 days. It's been pretty nice. Minus today, but I can't make a full assessment.
I have a question about free speech and chillism. How come Rich isn't allowed in chillism?
Well,
That was a fair question, I thought.
He was in there.
Am I not hearing? I don't hear anybody.
did your audio? Yes, the audio.
That was an interesting time for her to have audio issues.
Did you though?
I was in Killism the other day, and Rich was in there on 2 separate occasions. I mean, Nathan was yelling at him, but he wasn't there.
I was told that he was banished from there.
He seems to be on the in the good graces of the mods, because he was definitely in there yesterday.
Would you say that the mods in that room are consistent with each other? That they all subscribe to the same rule set?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I couldn't hear that. I'm really sorry. I had to go out and come back in.
We were asking why, if chillism is about free speech, why did Rich get removed from chillism?
Because he violated one of the rules too many times. They have like
Which rule? Which rule, Dina?
Doxing, and just like every rule, he violates every rule. He's not a good guy.
Well, I have to say this out loud. Rich has been blocked from this room.
He's banned from this one too.
Well, I blocked him personally on 2 of his accounts, but if he apologizes to, this is my condition for him, if he apologizes to Adams, and then another particular woman who I will not mention by name, if he apologizes to them for his behavior and agrees to follow the rules, he will be reinstated in the mod.
This is not an intention to steer. No, that's a lie. That's a damn lie. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I think. You want to love Rich because you know when somebody's just off and you just know they're off and you want to give them a chance. And he's admitted like
I know that all too well. But go ahead, continue.
So thank you. So I think he says like he's autistic or something. I don't know what it is. So you want to like give him chances, But it never changes. It never changes. It doesn't matter. And he's one of the biggest disruptors of good conversation. In most of the best rooms that I've been in, like little teeny rooms, there's no way that people will tolerate him. And I feel bad, because I want him to have a space, but it's too difficult when he starts to harass people, especially about like their personal life, and intentionally lie. Like he said one time, he kept going between 2 rooms and saying that other people were talking about the other people. Now, I witnessed this, and once I witnessed it, I said, hey, I saw what you just did. You just went over, and now these people are thinking, they're taking it seriously. They're not taking it as a troll. And he was intentionally inflaming and making up just fights between people and individuals. And that's what he likes to do. And I'm like, why do you do that? That's not right. right? And he's just like, what did he say? He wanted to win the award for the biggest troll or something like that, and that's his intention is to cause chaos. Those are his words. And, you know, I mean, do what you want, but you're not going to have a good conversation with him in the room. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to say that. It's just the truth. You know what I did? Listen, I don't like when I'm on rooms and I open up a room, I do not move people. Right? Only two things that that's too far. But,
Can I just pause you there? So,
yeah,
when this room was discussing somebody's behavior where they were threatening violence, specifically sexual violence to women on the stage, there was another individual that defended that and tried to draw a moral equivalence between that type of communication and other things in this room. And then when I called that out and even asked for examples, I wasn't given an example. Can you tell me how you square what you had just said with your defense of Huey?
So I feel like that you definitely have an agenda of why you just asked what you said, because I don't know how that's relative to anything that I'm saying.
All people have bias. I just own mine a little bit better than most. So yeah, I have a bias. One of my bias is I like to protect women. Another bias is I like to call out when people have gone too far, and then when people are simping for bad behavior, I like to call that out too. That's all I did with you. The reason why.
Oh, I see.
Hold up. The reason why Huey got removed was he chose not to engage in good faith. I gave him multiple opportunities. He came up and he said that he thought that it was hypocritical to criticize somebody for threatening sexual violence on women. And then I said, well, where's the hypocrisy? Give me the example of a behavior that's equivalent that you think it happens. And he couldn't answer that question. And then his refusal to have an honest dialogue is what got him removed. I mean, the whole reason we have these dialogues is to be able to have honest conversations. It appeared that he was either unwilling to have an honest conversation or incapable. In either case, that's why he was removed.
Yeah, actually, Roger, he also said that multiple people in this room he has examples of. So he couldn't even name one example from one person.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, honestly, when you did that and you played that move, and he chose not to answer, I don't think you give enough people credit to say, oh, look, we all saw that that's a checkmate, right? And you won right there. That was a win. And now he has to go on and defend whatever he was going to do. I feel that it would have been a better idea to let him, if that was the case, to just let him, crash and burn. You know what I mean? But you did what you did. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, listen, I would have, well, I am knocking it. I would have liked to have heard what you would have to say. He's also, like there's other psychological dynamics, like, he knows that you're the alpha in the room, and he likes to debate you. He's like a big debater. So
wouldn't another way to be able to frame that is that he knows that he's the beta in the room?
For the sake of the conversation, and the lens, if we're taking your lens short. And so what happens is he's already preparing for these psychological dynamics, and I already saw that these are like tactics that he tries to avoid just to keep control of the conversation. It's just debate stuff, right? But that's how he handles debate. But he's still, very intelligent, and I would have liked to.
So he handles debate. I mean, Roger asked him directly, gave him multiple opportunities to say, okay, saw what you put in chat. You're up here on stage. Go ahead and defend yourself. Give us examples. And I won't. I'm not going to play your games, Georgia. I'm not going to play your games.
That there was like a chokehold, so he was in a chokehold. I would have liked to say what he was going to say at all. You know what I mean? But we'll never know. That's all that I'm saying. Like, let it play out. I mean, you do what you want. I'm saying that's what I would want to do. But my point is, to get back to Rich, I don't move people when I'm on. and he intentionally will go in my room and destroy a noise troll room intentionally because he knows I'm not going to remove him. And what I end up doing is I just end up leaving. I'll mod somebody else and I'll leave, and so the room gets destroyed. And he's done that to me many times, so I had to block him. I've never blocked anybody on this app. I've never reported anybody. I don't do that, but I had to block him because he made it impossible to just have a good room. But anyway, that's the point. And to Yui's, again with Yui, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't there. I'll have to take your word for it. Yeah, I think Yui's pretty cool. I would have liked to have seen too. And like that's one of the downsides of kicking somebody out. Maybe we could have moved into the goo, and then Mojo, you did this well, and I've seen you do it many times. You can see control the narrative, move to the goo, like, hey, look, this is what this person said. I look at the chat, boo 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 boo, and now we're gonna like if he doesn't want to defend or give us reasons, then he can think about it, or he could come up when he's ready. You know what I mean? Because now kicking me out, I have no way to verify like what happened. And I mean like Yui's not an unreasonable person most of the time. I'm not saying that he's not ever unreasonable. I mean I think we all are at some point. But I mean I think
what his biggest crime was is that he doesn't speak up in this room ever. And then the one time that he thought, I'll mix it up, he wanted to take to the chat to defend threats of violence, threats of sexual violence towards women. And then when I brought him to the stage to defend his asinine comments, he couldn't do it. He said that there's a hypocrisy and that equally bad things have been said. And I said, who says equally bad things to threatening sexual violence to women? Call it out. And he couldn't give it a single example. The entire engagement was very bad faith, but that's what you get when you bring people from chillism. Like, there's a culture over there of bad faith. There's a culture over there of people that don't want to stand behind the words that they say. They'll type something in chat, and when you ask them point blank, how do you defend this? They clam up. And so I think that he's a midwit. I think that people confuse his accent with being articulate. And I think ultimately what he was guilty of is showing that the only conversation he was interested in engaging with was support of threatening women with sexual violence. That was his position.
You know what an incel is, right?
I do.
Would you say that might be a fair assessment of not all, but several of the chillism bros in there, particularly this Huey guy?
No, I don't think Huey is an incel. Maybe you haven't run into it. I mean, Scarlett knows. I know a leader of the incel movement.
So he just hates women. Because for someone to take the side or defend free speech to Mojo's point, when it's involving violence against a woman sexually, and to the extent of implying murder.
Exactly like what happened, because it seems like because you're giving a descriptive, like it's already like your lens. Could you tell me just objectively, like you came into the room, this person, you could just use A, and A said this, then B said this, then Huey said this. Can you just give me a breakdown of what happened objectively?
It's moments like these when I take the deepest breath of the day.
Council.
What's up?
You were asked a question.
Oh, what was the question?
Well, just if you could just give an objective, like a breakdown of what happened without being, opinion, just like.
I thought you were asking about Jim. I'm not here to do forensics of the clubhouse chat or interaction. There were no people here that observed said interaction. But you wanted to pay me because I work as an investigator, but I don't work for free.
So anyway, you might have some public topic. So I want to tell you something that I found out today. And it's disturbing me. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so she said, hey, I don't know if Nigerians there's like this culture of like scamming from Nigerians, and someone called me out on it, and that's kind of inappropriate, right? And I was just like, isn't that because I wanted to check, so I pulled up the World Cybercrime to see if there's anything wrong. I need to know, okay? Would you believe what country is number one for cybercrime in the world?
North Korea.
Everybody guess.
North Korea.
Depends on how you shit. I can't hear anybody again.
North Korea!
Yeah, it depends on how you define cybercrime. So if I'm interested to see what your answer is, I'll fact check it. Yeah, North Korea could get around with maybe.
Dang, it's nothing to say possible. It's not North Korea, but they're on the top 10.
Well, hold on, where are you Ukraine or Russia? Hold on, where are you getting your statistics from, first of all? Because I can point people to the better statistics around cyber attacks.
Okay, yeah, thank you. This would be world, it's like the WC, hold on a second, right now. It's called the WCRI. It was done by the FBI, and it's called the World, what is it, something crime index.
The cybercrime index?
Yeah, the Oxford 2024 World Cybercrime Index.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that that's the best indication because the thing is when you talk about cybercrime, there's the prosecution of cybercrime, but then there's the events themselves. And some events go unmeasured, other events are measured and not reported because a lot of brands that are attacked or government agencies that are attacked don't want to report that they've been attacked because there could be a brand implication. If let's say if it's a company that's been attacked, if they announce that they've been attacked, then their customers will say, oh, well, you're receiving attacks, maybe I should not trust you. So a lot of this stuff goes unreported or underreported. Where you get your best intel comes from companies that are providing solutions that monitor for this type of thing, and then they aggregate it. They don't call out the companies directly or the entities that are getting attacked, but consistently Russia is always number one. That's been true since I've been tracking this stuff. China has flare-ups, and they're capable of doing some pretty massive attacks, specifically on the DDoS front. When you look at some of the more sophisticated stuff, like some of the bots that are utilized for web scraping and things like that, you can get sophisticated people that can create bots that don't require an army of infected machines.
US, Nigeria, Romania, North Korea, UK, Brazil, India. But per population, because I was just curious about that, I know that you don't really put it to worth, but then there's overpopulation, overrepresentation of brain by like 16 times. Like 16.7 had an overrepresentation of 6, but that's just like a lot of separate crime in Ukraine. But also, they separate the crimes in different categories. And it happened to be running for an online scam from Nigeria. But see, now it's something said, I mean, this is that report, so I'm taking this one report, and that was the, what was it, the advanced fee scams, like online scams, like Facebook Marketplace, like that. That was like, it was very over-representation of Nigeria in most of those crimes. But then also, I was looking up some other, because I wanted to see why everyone's focused on Nigeria, and then there are actual studies saying that there might be a bias of just people like doing studies for Nigeria, like too many studies focused on Nigeria, not appropriately. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Or do you understand what I'm saying? Could you say it better?
I do. No, I understand.
So I thought that was, but it was a surprise for like Ukraine, like what?
They're involved in a fucking war. Use every tool at your disposal. It's not shocking. Go look at the numbers prior to the invasion of where Ukraine ranks. You'll see the big difference.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But why do they say they're still ranked on it? They still use their same rankings as everybody else. So, like, we're talking specific type of scams. Why would Ukraine be listed for those specific types of crimes? These are the attacks. Let's look at Ukraine. Hold on, here's Ukraine. Okay, so that makes sense. I see what you're saying. Okay, so attacks and extortion, they're very high. Okay, identity theft. They look like they're the second highest. First is Russia. I can understand that. Cashing out money laundering, yeah, they're second in that. Second to Russia. And overall scams, like the online scams, I see, yeah, they're pretty low. Okay.
If you guys are interested in cybercrime, you guys should read a book called Fatal System Error. Barrett Lyon, he was the young man. He came up with a solution that would block DDoS attacks, and he did this to protect his gaming server. And once he figured it out, he started reading about how DDoS attacks were prevalent on online poker sites. So he reached out to the online poker sites and expressed to them that he had a solution. A company called BetCris, one of the very first online gambling companies, was located in Costa Rica. They moved him to Costa Rica. He solved the problem for them because what would happen is their servers would get hit with a huge DDoS attack. They would lose revenue, and then the attacker would say, "Hey, if you can transfer us Bitcoin, we'll stop attacking." So they had to play ball for a while, and then Bitcoin helps them to figure out how to defend themselves. And then the folks who did BetCris said, "Well, hey, now that you've solved this problem, we should productize this." And so they started the first DDoS mitigation company called Prolexic. And then initially it was only protecting gaming companies, online gambling companies, as well. Then after he kind of dominated that market, he sold the company to a company out in the Philippines called IP Converge. And so they bought it so they could make it mandatory to sell DDoS protection to all of the gaming operators in the Philippines. Once they exploited that, it got sold back out to private equity, some company in Florida, which then partnered with Level 3, which was a tier 1 ISP, that cleaned it up a little bit, started selling to online, or not online banks, but traditional banks like the Big Four. And once they could call the Big Four banking customers as customers, they then sold to Akamai, and Akamai's DDoS mitigation product is Prolexic. What's the gross national product of California?
It's I think they're sixth largest in the world. Interestingly enough, Texas is as big as Russia. Just for perspective.
So, Abim, I don't even know if you ever said which country is the biggest purveyor of online cyber fraud on it, but you put it into Grok, and I wondered what was your answer?
Russia, according to the Oxford 2024 World Cybercrime Index report. Is that what you got? What's the source to share?
I'm trying to find it in Grok right now. So, I was going to say India. That was my guess.
And do you know what else? I was surprised, like I said, that they're like underrepresented according to their capability in the population. So just because of how big they are, it's just, yeah, very interesting. The expected amount, like if you made a pie and make the slices according to like one person, like you have a slice of the pie representing each country, and according to the population, you would think that they're supposed to have like one slice, but they have less than a slice. And I thought that was so interesting.
India has a big new political party. Figure that out.
Well, that's great, isn't it? I wish America was like that.
Well, the region is their own collaboration. Everybody wants their biggest piece of pie. So it dissolves their validity in terms of they don't have the reach they could have if they were united.
Do you have the noble things? Do you have 52 things in your life that you even worry about? I mean, what can be the subtle differences or even the gross differences in freaking life in general that require 52 different reasons other than some unhealthy reason? What the hell?
I agree.
I think you need a political party for each to represent each region.
It's a regional thing. It's not national politics per se, which is, I mean, it's probably regional, don't you think?
Yeah, they're not all the same reason, but there could be crossover. I mean, you got Hakanami, you got Rita, you got Philly, you got a lot of business within that particular state, within their own country.
I mean, does anyone think that the founders were intelligent? You know, if you look at the roster of presidents, there's only 3 parties that appear to be against one of them. Because, right, it's just weak Republican and Democrat, right? There's not been some other major national party.
There was a Republican Democrat, I forget, it's the Democratic Republican Party or Republican. There was another one, very short-lived.
But I mean, India has 121 different languages, so assuming that you want to vote for somebody that can actually speak your language and explain to you what they believe, you'd probably be voting for somebody who speaks your language.
And when you vote, you just give a red dot in the center of your forehead to show you voted.
And you look like everyone else, so nobody can tell.
Well, it would appear that casting a vote is a divine right.
Unfortunately, or some don't even know what electricity.
In my age, 22 or 121, that's 22 different languages.
Before you answer that, I just want to say the poll is up, and the poll's not going to stay up all day, but there's people on the stage, even moderators, that haven't responded yet. I'm looking at full participation. 100% of our population.
Wouldn't that be regional? But these are different languages. So I guess America has primarily Spanish and English. I mean, those are the two that are like large enough to be officially counted. I mean, when I worked on Naval Corporate, we made signs for Spanish and English. And I don't know if you were hanging in Kitover, Michigan, or another language. Maybe America has English one.
We divided 122 and 1.5 billion, and that would be comparable to Chinese, Korean, Spanish, and English language thing.
I guess I'm not that concerned about the language. I'm not concerned about the message behind the political party. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I just think that language is a good point. Do you think they're warning? Do you think it's the language itself that's leads to the proliferation of political parties to make a country that could be significantly more powerful or governed? So, intersection.
I'm sure the languages overlap, so I'm sure many of them speak multiples of them, so it would explain the difference between 50 and 121.
Also, are you mining on the west?
Yeah, we're getting off. That only makes sense. Are you familiar with the term muff at all? You are part of it. So in the muff is a reference to a woman's femininity, more specifically their vagina hole.
I was like, oh.
Seriously, are you kidding?
You think I would joke about something like this? I'm a feminist, for fuck's sake.
No, you don't have to do that.
But I do think we should fight the 21st century.
Yeah, please do. I want him to go to church.
Roger, if he winds up in the back channel, I'm holding you accountable. We'd actually like to hear chapter guy. What's that thing mentionable or notable in your life today? You can share with us. Anything?
You want me?
Yeah.
Yes. Nowadays, I'm going to make many changes because I meet people, strangers, and yeah, I got very good experience, bad experience. Basically, I came here from Cheddar. If anyone from Cheddar,
Oh, Cheddar, you mean the Jonathan Bing app, where Jonathan Bing says really dumb things and people sit around and pay crap for him. That app?
yeah. So actually,
Hold on, real quick. What is your opinion of Jonathan? I don't want to leave the witness here, but what is your opinion of Jonathan Bing and the Cheddar app?
okay,
yeah, her name maybe you even heard, but she's we can say is she believes on magic, long reading astronomy.